Hello, welcome to Agile Encounters. My name is Paweł Feliński. This is the 14th Agile Encounter. Today's topic is how to reinvent your career. It's going to be a transformative journey of my guest, Dmitrii Tuktamyshev, here in the studio together with me. Roughly the topics that we're going to look after are, as you can see, first of all, how to become an entrepreneur. What does it mean to run a business? Then what is it like to move from running a business to Scrum? Because the majority of cases I am familiar with, maybe because of my profession, is the other way, from Scrum to running a business. Then how to learn if you already learned a lot and you're adult, you already had a lot of projects, need to learn something really from scratch, and something tricky at the very end, product mindset in the project management. Dmitrii, let's start with the first topic. I know you started your career in a corporation. It's not that you inherited a business from your family. It's not that it was there for ages. And I think many businesses that we know right now, that we observe, were created at some point of time by the person who thought what. So, in other words, how have you become an entrepreneur?
Oh, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, Pavel. It was really my pleasure joining you and just hopefully sharing some of my experience and answering question. Very good question. I would say that this was really complicated journey. Why? Because as you mentioned, I started in corporate, and in corporate you're already working for some organization. You know the rules, you know what you're going to do, and pretty much most of the things are predefined. And entrepreneurship is a kind of different mindset, different road, and different journey. And what helped me a lot, I made a transition. I just started in the middle of my, I would say not even in the middle, but at some point, like a few years ago, I started my education one more time. I studied abroad in France. And back then, while receiving a master, I had a chance to think about and look broader, I would say, or wider or deeper, etc., to find what kind of overall possibilities can I have after graduation. And actually, one friend of mine who was really my classmate, he started at that time, he started his journey, also switched from corporate to entrepreneur. He advised me the very famous book of Tim Ferriss to read about and talk, and he really inspired me. And I think this is where my journey began. And yes, I joined startup for some months. I really was, I would say, fascinated and inspired the way how decisions are made, how quickly, how team is really inspired, and we're working together as one unit. Unfortunately, not in every corporation you can find such a team which literally sitting together under one table and talking, and just we have breaks and we're just yeah, what have you done? I've done this. Oh shit, let's do this one. And I think this feeling was really motivated me to continue on. I think this
I
was
see.
really the
I see. That's a really interesting topic you mentioned. In my job, in my profession, management consultant very often engage in digital transformation, agile transformation. We talk a lot about the culture and mindset shift. Half, or I'd say even more than half of the job is to help organization shift the mindset. What was the mindset shift you mentioned that happened for you in here on your journey from the corporation to your own business? Was it something similar, something different? How did it look like?
I think it's very complicated question. Why? Because you're absolutely right. You need to have different mindset, completely different, and this has nothing to do with corporate at all. Entrepreneurship, it's really like kind of freedom, I would say, and so much of uncertainty that you have no idea what you need to do next. So you have ideas, but you don't specifically know which one you need to take, how to execute, what should be the outcome, how you will measure this and stuff. And you belong to yourself. No one actually will come and support you or save you. Normally in corporate, you have other departments, you have your boss, you have previous history which you can check. So you have so many things which you can rely on, while on entrepreneurship it's not like that. And this shift, if I'm honest with you, I'm still in the process of changing my mindset and to be a kind of, I would say, free with regards to different level of freedom when you really can think how to say, be in uncertainty, but still kind of navigate and decide on your next steps. I think this is really the process. So I don't know, maybe in 20 years I will still be like doing this journey and still not there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. When we had a chat before this webinar, you mentioned literally that running a business is dealing with complexity, a lot of complexity.
Yep.
Now you mentioned too many ideas, too little time, and the lamps blink on my mind. It's literally what the Scrum framework is actually solving, where Scrum framework is applied, where agile methods in general are really useful. But at the beginning of your journey as an entrepreneur, you didn't know Agile, you didn't know Scrum. Am I
No,
right?
no,
What
no,
did you
no, no.
use?
Very good question. If we come back there, apart from Tim Ferriss' book, which was really for me a kind of eye opener, and I did know that you can do so much, and you're really literally free. And internet, maybe one of the biggest invention of it, not even of my time. I think overall.
I
And even though it was really pretty much clear what to do, I still was looking for some resources, how I really can support, how I need to be structured, etc. And one author came to my mind, just like actually it was really advice from other people. It's Aushmaria, Running Lean and Scaling Lean. And actually the guy using lean approach, and also I think he also recommended Scrum. And this may be the first time I see like 2 week time frame within which you need to decide on the experiment, kind of testifiable, I think in English, and to find a way how to do this. And I think this is the way where I learned this and started to incorporate and try to test. And definitely, as you can imagine, I started looking for a literature or sources when I failed really so much that I knew that I need something to do differently. And actually, this was also a kind of solution.
I want to ask you how you discovered Scrum, but apparently it's Scrum who found you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. It's not the other way around. Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Speaking about Scrum as the method of choice, when you learned about it, what has changed in your business?
It helped to, first of all, if I can, I'm telling how I saw it and still see kind of, and please don't quote me, just like only my perspective, etc. Without Scrum, it was like a long road without, you have a kind of idea where you want to be, but you have no clue where is it. Okay, so it's just like a marathon or whatever, and you just like, you need to run, and so this is what you know, and you're just trying to run somehow. While with the helping of Scrum, it was when you really can break those distances in smaller pieces and consume them in chunks. And that's why, honestly speaking, I would say in this regards, they're more controllable, more predictable, and in the sphere of your influence. So meaning that you still, you kind of can navigate better, or you can run this marathon better. You have also a kind of security with regards to, you have some uncertainty, but you know that this is limited in time frame, and you can find a way how to do it. Without it, I would say uncertainty. You are scared, you have nothing, you don't know what to do, and you just like, you can, I don't know, kill yourself, kind of break it wise in terms of stress, etc.
I read somewhere that the majority of CEOs of Fortune 50 companies in the USA they are running marathons. They are great in strategic planning, thinking. What we bring to the stage with Agile is to help companies run a marathon in sprints, which is kind of counterintuitive, but actually that pays off a lot. Um, do you see any similarities between Scrum and running business pure entrepreneurship? If so, would it be?
I think the first one is definitely risks, and risks all the time go together with uncertainty. I think also what is really very important in Scrum, which I really adore and like, is that the framework as such is built for to have constant feedback loop with the customer, and just like to adopt, meaning that you don't have long-term planning, but you have like small pieces, bytes, and you try to evolve from there. And actually, this is what's really honestly speaking, I think this is really what about entrepreneurship as such. You cannot really like build something from zero to maximum having an idea what is it should be, etc. Unless before pretty much few years ago you built the same stuff and you just like want to repeat it. But I think in nowadays it's very tough. I would say those two things for sure. And I don't know. I need to think about this. I mean, just like this is only two things which came to my mind up for the moment.
Thank you very much. I think we're ready to move to the next topic. I think the most important topic over here. So you spent a few years in a corporation. You spent a few years running a business, and at some point of time, you discovered Scrum and needed to learn a lot. How did the learning journey look like? What helped you? What didn't help you? Um, when we are young, learning is something that we do naturally. When
Yeah,
we are adults, typically, well, we always learn till the end of life, obviously, but we typically based on our experience. And now something
yeah.
completely different comes to your stage. How was it?
Good question. I think it's have so many layers specifically for me because when I found this kind of Scrum in the book, it was really like on the surface without really details, just like overall the framework, and pretty much okay for the execution if you really don't think or don't follow thoroughly this stuff. After that, I also it was a discussion with me and my friend with regards to switching to IT, and IT definitely majority of IT. We're talking about software development as such is based on Scrum. And I just like asked my friend, okay, if Scrum's so important, what should I do? He told me, go and read Scrum Guide, and this like 12, 14 pages, etc. Honestly speaking, when I read it 1 or 2 times, for me it was really like Egyptian history or whatever. We're looking for kind of artifacts, who we are, where we are searching for something I don't know, some mystery, and we don't know what to do. And I was lost. And back then, funny enough, the same friend told me that Scrum.org and company Merrick support Ukrainian people. Actually, I'm Ukrainian, and because of whatever you already know what because of what there is a support in the program where you recommended just like to follow one of your trainings. I jumped, and this actually the way how helped me to, I would say, better understand Scrum, better practice it, and fully grasp what is going on. I just like it was really like I would say that it was really the beginning, like 0 point, but it is definitely was the first or the second step with regards to how to go deeper with the Scrum and how to learn. There, I also can, I don't know, go deeper, explain you if you need it, but this is like pretty much.
I'm asking about it because it's similar to my journey, although context was completely different. I haven't been an entrepreneur for years, but when I need to learn something new, I automatically reach out to a book. In case of Scrum, Scrum Guide would be the one, and I'm totally lost. And
Yep.
only after either attending a training or maybe meeting somebody who knows already, mentoring, I'm coming
Yeah,
back to a book, and now it's absolutely obvious.
absolutely.
Um, Absolutely obvious. I thought it's just me, but maybe it's a general pattern over here. Dmitry, thank you for mentioning our support for Ukraine program. We are proud of it on the one side, and another unhappy that we need to have it, given the situation. For those who are watching us live or offline later, it's still up and running. We started over a year ago. If you are a Ukrainian resident, so you are still in Ukraine, or you're a Ukrainian refugee and you would like either to upskill yourself in these the topics related to the Scrum framework and broader Agile, or you would like to change completely your career for the benefit of yourself, but also the nation, in the bottom right corner is a QR code. Also on our website, you will see information about our program. It's free of charge. Different training session are over there. Perhaps some more words about it slightly later. Let's talk about the training again. I really wonder, Dmitry, what is after completing, as far as I know, a few training sessions.
Yeah.
What would be your piece of advice for those who start their journey with Scrum?
Phew. I think before actually answering your question, what I wanted, I didn't actually add this to the previous question. That's why I just
Uh-huh.
wanted to shortly to come back. What's really important, when I joined your training session, and my first trainer was you actually, is that you gave the perspective to the Scrum is not like extended version of Scrum Guide or different examples, etc. Not specifically. You gave a bigger business view from different angles, how the Scrum can be used and how overall what the organization should be doing. And in my case, it helped me to realize how different cases can be at the end of the day and how you can use it. So I would say it was like eye opener is maybe not the proper word, but it's like when you're like a horse, you see like this, but with those things you just like you can see wider. Okay. And this is also gave a lot of food for thoughts, so that I say, okay, so but how I can implement, or not I would say implement, but how I can use it in my work. And this actually triggered the process of thinking and understanding Scrum on a deeper level, way beyond, for example, if you go via Scrum Guide, etc. So I think the combination of the Scrum Guide as such, your different approach and different cases, discussion with the groups, etc., help really to grasp wider and bigger picture, so that afterwards, specifically for the people like myself, it's better and easier to understand what's going on and how to use it. And I would say this was really, I think it's great. First of all, I didn't expect, I thought honestly that you will follow the Scrum Guide and we just like learn and go details by details, but your training was really something completely different. But you triggered this momentum for me to go deeper, think, analyze, and kind of, honestly speaking, can make this puzzle by myself, meaning that this is additional work needed. It's not like you chewing the food and giving to me, I need to swallow. Not really. For those who are really would like,
I
please,
hear you.
this is my money, please explain the stuff, I would say not really, but the benefit is way bigger with this regards. And
I hear you, and I need to add something because I had also my tiny journey as a trainer. Years ago, I always recommended my trainees of basic Scrum training sessions. Please read the Scrum guide. You would be a little bit more prepared to training, first training. Nowadays, I don't. I say, come to the training, and then I will tell you at the end of the training to read the Scrum guide. And I think it's way more effective.
yep.
I was annoyed as a junior trainer at the very beginning of my career with questions from the audience. Okay, you told me how it is in theory. Now tell me how it is in practice. No, they use different words. How is it in real life? And I was annoyed because what I showed they thought is theory is real life, not your life yet. But it's the inter transformation that can make you be achieve that point. Coming back to our topic, what recommendation would you give to others? What worked for you? What are do's? What are don'ts? For those who would like to start learning a new discipline, not necessarily Scrum. In your case, it was Scrum.
Interesting question. First of all, I would definitely advise, apart from reading Scrum Guide, which obviously all of us should do, and from time to time, even though certified or not certified, familiar or not familiar, because you all the time you'll find something new. It's not really like Bible, but definitely not on that level. But still, there are so many things, interesting things you can find still there in Scrum Guide. The second, I would fully with you that it's better to have coach, training, etc. And if the people are happy enough, like myself or any other person, and they can join your company with regards to the training, I mean, I would advise to follow not one training, but at least two, and to have a look from different perspective on Scrum. What I mean by that, in the Scrum guide, in the Scrum, you have like three roles. You have Dev, Scrum Master, and Product Owner, and you also have, in like, as far as I know, at least two versions, like for Scrum Masters and also for Product Owners. I would recommend people, no matter what, no matter who they are, either they are Scrum Masters or Product Owners, or they have no idea whatsoever what Scrum, it's really better to cover from those two angles, because you have the same framework, but you have different perspective. The better you understand, the better you afterwards can in real life apply this stuff and be valuable to your team and whatever organization or what you're doing. I don't know. Truly.
That's really interesting thought. Typically, when I have trainees to my training session, these are people well oriented. I want to be, or I am already Scrum Master, or I am, or want to be the product owner. In your case, I believe when you arrived to the first Scrum session, you were just to learn Scrum, not to become a certain role, and
Yep.
that's why
True.
you pick it up from different angles. Perhaps it's a good idea for those who are more focused on their roles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I also have. I'm not thinking I know this. I previously worked in different departments in the same company. Let's call this sales and marketing. And as soon as you understand better workings of the other departments, you become better professional in your own specialization. And definitely, people have different mindsets and different backgrounds. But I think it's really helpful. And majority of international big names, they used to have those job rotations between the organization, so that the people know and help each other. Because the better team, the better they understand each other, the better team they are. The better team they are, the more productive, more happy, and everyone is happy. I mean, company, customers, everyone. And I think this is really, really great.
All right. You mentioned earlier something that might be really interesting for those who watch us right now. The certified training. Some of the classes I know because I know them were certified Scrum.org classes indeed. Some classes you attended were not certified, were simply mere bespoke courses. What is the difference where you have an exam to get to, and the certification process? Is there any difference? How was it in your case?
Yes, I truly believe there is a difference. Uh, I think in any case you have commitment to go to the training, listen, to learn some stuff. But exam deadline have additional commitment for you, so that you can prove that you learned something. You really need to show, to demonstrate. And in terms of Scrum work, and particularly in terms of your training, it was really a kind of deadline which forces you really to do your homework, to prepare, etc. You were coming back to the three pieces of success, I would say, which really helped me a lot, is that your broader view on the business perspective, how to use Scrum, the Scrum framework or Scrum guide or whatever as such, and also some nuances and test preparation. If you put those all together, put on top the exam as such and deadline, I think this is what helped me a lot to open. I'm not really so young, but I'm not that so old. But this really helped me to open one more time this learning loop, to start learning, to believe in myself, and that, oh, I can acquire this knowledge. Oh, it's not really that tough. I can do this. And honestly speaking, uh, it also helped me to increase, or one more time, to get my confidence back. Because how to say, when you really all the time live in uncertainty, you all the time hesitate. You just like thinking you don't know what's really right or wrong, and you definitely need navigation, and you definitely need some things on which you really can rely on. Or I would say, I don't know how in English, but you really can grab and just like it's like stone, and you just like, oh, cool, I can move on. And I think exam certification is really the best tool to help you to build this skill. I would say, kind of, it's really like on a finishing line for that. Just like
It,
go an extra step. Sorry.
it sounds to me like something that many people perceive as a tiny milestone, just to pass an exam and that's it. There were a lot of emotions around it, a lot of other feelings. As such, from the perspective, do you find the exams, or exams that you did pass, difficult, moderate, simple? If
I
you
would
compare it to the entire set of emotions that are accompanying it.
uh, honestly speaking, I wouldn't find them difficult, but I will find them fulfilling, because they're really kind of milestone. And I also, honestly speaking, I was enjoying the process, because training preparation you have a deadline, etc. This is really the whole process. I mean, kind of little Johnny for this particular certification or skill or knowledge, etc. And I found all those pieces together, and the whole process as such is really like motivating because I really enjoy the process. I wouldn't say that I cared so much about the end result, but I don't know. What's really also cool that I'm looking ahead. I'm planning another certifications, nothing to do with Scrum, but something to do with project management. And you helped me a lot, just like to come back and say, hey, still you can do this. This is not really a big deal. So I try to simplify this and find my way. So it's really great. You just like you start to believe, learn, and move on. It's great.
Thank you. Thank you, Dmitry. Before we move to the project management, which is the last part, I'd like to share that what you are describing, and there was no intention behind it. Our support for Ukraine program was come to any training. And in your case, you decided to come to a series of them, and it made sense. I observe a growing, slowly but continuously growing trend in training industry. Instead of one-time or training sessions, instead of one-time training sessions online, that what the pandemic introduced, I see more and more learning pathways where we have several steps on the journey. It takes more time. It's typically more expensive, I'm afraid. And it's not only training, maybe training, reading a book, something else. You discover it on your own, and definitely it pays off. If some of you watching us would be interested, we have a nice opportunity that I'd like to share with you. No matter if it's Scrum.org certified training, Kanban University certified training, or Mary classes, our courseware. We've just kicked off a Mary summer sale. You can get up to 30% of discount on selected training courses after the summertime, so in autumn and winter. If you're interested, please visit our website or social media. You will learn more about it. Now, coming back to us and to project management, because you revealed already something that perhaps was not so clear. You started in sales marketing, right? And through Scrum, you ended up in project management. So it's quite interesting, because if you take a look at a typical person dealing with Scrum, especially not necessarily understanding Scrum fully, they are project haters. They say you need to be product oriented. Product mindset is important. Projects are project managers, they shouldn't be. It's a myth, obviously, but there are reasons why the myth was created. And now you are a project manager after what you learned, what you discovered. So I have, because you see both words definitely. My question, pretty tricky, is, so eventually, project management as discipline, does it help, or it hinders in
That's
running
helpful.
business, for instance?
In running business. I think I think it helps, and the reason why I think so, it's just like project management for me. It's really a system. It's a structure. It's like it's transparency. It's communication, and it's some kind of deliverables, documentation, etc., which making the whole thing, which is really going in with the project, visible, clear, understandable for all parties involved. And I would say project as such, according to the definition, this is something that has never done before, or it's kind of unique. Okay, maybe it's not really like reproducible anymore. It's not really conveyor. And I think it's have so much with entrepreneurship and so much with Scrum, and definitely it only supports for me. For me, let's call this, I would say, but don't quote me, it's how I see this. Scrum a kind of framework, project management maybe kind of, I wouldn't say principles, but maybe also a kind of system for me to put everything together and connect the dots which are really missing, and give this organism a kind of more structure, more visibility, more control. Because Scrum, at the end of the day, it's defined, but still so much evolving. So, and project management in this case give it a little bit more surrounding environment. I would say like that, if I can,
Mhm.
if I can transfer my idea, my understanding.
Absolutely.
How is it?
Absolutely. I wonder because you're very fresh in discovery the project management discipline. Is there anything that in particular you say, wow, this is awesome, and it's very helpful and useful in project management that I didn't know earlier as an entrepreneur, if anything?
Actually, good question. I love and hate your questions. They they force me to think. I'm not ready. um, mm. I think two things which can come to my mind. Uh, Honestly, majority of cases, especially young entrepreneurs, it's chaos. Let's call this that way. And people like creators, they live in this chaos and they cannot really find a way how to do what to do. And at some point, if they are successful or lucky, everything could be fine. If not, they drown. They I don't know what they're going to
Absolutely.
do. So
Absolutely.
project management, with this regards, gives, as I already mentioned before, a kind of system or a kind of things which you really can still rely. And it's also a kind of navigation. Okay, maybe Scrum navigate. Okay, yes, it helping to structure entrepreneurship, etc., or approach you, because you have different phases. You have things defined in each phase of project management, etc. And the second thing, which I also think is so much important, and most people miss it. I'm talking most people. I'm talking about entrepreneurs with whom I had a chance to talk, to cooperate, from whom I try to learn, etc. Is that everything in your head, especially if you're a really small team, it's not really well documented, and people don't, they overestimate how good their memory is, and that's why they think, oh, I know what they're doing, but honestly speaking, they do not. In project management, that's why you have everything written and structured, so you know everything what was done in every step, so that later you can analyze, you can do your way, you can learn from this. And this, I think, this really two things which really can enhance entrepreneurs, let's call entrepreneurs
Mhm.
as such.
I hear you. I would rephrase it as it's project management provides a sort of governance boundaries,
Yep,
principles
yep,
boundaries.
yep,
For those who watch us right now, it's what is good for a person who never had of project management, because I think the journey of people who are embedded in project management from scratch towards agile ways of working, it's completely different. They
yep,
see different pros and cons. It's my journey actually. Technically, I was at the beginning of my career an IT project manager in a very traditional waterfall, heavy metal waterfall kind of company, and I missed a lot of things that naturally entrepreneurs have. Is there anything in project management discipline that, from your perspective as a person coming from marketing, sales, entrepreneurship, definitely is wrong, is bad, hinders, doesn't help at all? Anything, maybe.
I'm thinking, sorry, I didn't say that. No, I would say my answer would be no, and I have an explanation, kind of explanation. I think even though project management is kind of new, I don't know, maybe 20 years or 30 years or whatever, at least in a structured way, it is how I see this, etc. The things which you have in project management, you some of them you might not understand how important they are, but you still need to do them. At some point, you still say, "Oh, this is the value. This is the value." I would advise those who really would like to switch to project management, etc. Forget about saying no to something new. Just like go and do it, try it, and at some point you will see why it was necessary. You will learn this a little bit later. Unfortunately, some things are evident for some people, some things are not, and you also should give time. You can't be explained every step, every moment, but definitely as discipline project management, I think you should just need follow. And definitely it's easier to start with the things you know and you trust and they are logical for you. But it's better really to follow the whole process. I think this principle, Scrum, a little bit easier, and this is the same. Just like follow the process, and the result will come. So you should not doubt it, but you should encourage yourself, continue improving, and this iteration. I think this is so much in it. It's not only professional; it's like personal stuff. You also can do this on your personal level. The Scrum, I
Uh-huh.
mean, etc. No, you should follow the project management principles, and you will see you will understand maybe later. But you should not question everything is really to the point. I think, from my perspective.
And somehow we came back to the topic where we started with, so to the mindset, right?
Yeah.
I would argue that no matter if it's project management or Scrum, you can do it wrong, and whatever done wrong, and this is my my motto, professional one. Anything can be done in the wrong way, bad way, but if done right, has a lot of benefits. It's also a matter of mindset. A balance, I think. Speaking of mindset, I know it's a very simplistic question, but if you were to tell me right now, after maybe not at the end of the journey, at the current point of your journey,
Yep.
transformative journey, do you still have the product mindset, or you picked up the project mindset? What's your stance?
Interesting. Luckily, I suppose, I have product mindset, but this is also because of my background, and as most of my life I lived with marketing, in marketing, etc. So the customer for me is number one. And customer, it doesn't mean only external customer, it's also internal customer, and this also stakeholders, and this also team, actually, I mean, within the project, etc. So I would say the product for me is number one, and all the rest is just like find a way how to help my customer.
which
Still,
is which is literally what we want to achieve with Scrum, and what we often, but not always, miss in project management. All right, Dmitrii, thank you very much. I have no more questions, especially these difficult ones. I'd like to, well, fingers crossed for the rest of your
thank
transformative
you.
journey. I know a few people are watching us right now. If you have any questions, you can ask them right now. You can place them as a comment. We will see it. I'm going to give you, let's say, a minute for that. In the meantime, those who are not watching us on a daily basis, please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will see all the movies, all the Agile Encounters webinars. It's the 14th already. We've been here for over a year, but also other content that we're creating or planning to create. So stay in touch. This is the best way to be connected. I can't see any comments, any questions right now, so I think we're good to go. One more time, Dmitrii Tuktamyshev, thank you very much for being my guest
Thank
over
you.
here. Fingers crossed, and enjoy your journey. Take care. See you
Okay.
next time on a training, maybe. Thank you.
Agreed. Thank you very much. See you. Bye. Bye.